Nissan Altima 2017. We're doing front brake pads. I'm going to tell you everything that I'm going to do here. I'm going to show you the tools first and then tell you what I'm going to do step by step. So our tools, the only thing we're going to need is a 22mm socket to get these wheels off. I got an impact wrench, but you can use a 4-way or whatever works for you. 22mm socket, 3/8 ratchet, and a 14mm socket, a flathead screwdriver, and a 4-inch C-clamp. Then we have a jack stand and a jack. All right, the first step is pop the hood, locate your brake reservoir, and loosen this cap. You could take it all the way off if you want, so that way you don't forget that you've loosened it. Then we're gonna jack this up so we can get this wheel off. So I'll show you once I get it up, but I'm gonna tell you now, I'm gonna use the jack to get it up. Once it's up, I have it where I need it. All the weight's going to be put onto the jack stand. And it's up. Now you can see where I positioned the jack stand. I'd like to get it right here on this pinch rail, a little bit further back. But that's where you're going to jack it up. So you want to get the cup of your jack on this pinch rail here. This rides from the front all the way to the rear. Once you get it up, then we're going to release jack real slow and get it onto our jack stand. So all the weight's onto the jack stand. So now you can see the jack came off of it, but just for safety measures, I'm going to put it like that. And I'm going to tighten it back up. So when I'm done, I'm already in a position to start jacking it up, take the weight off of the jack stand, and then remove it. All right, so now we're going for this wheel. So we got impact gun. So I didn't loosen it before I jacked it up because I'm using this impact gun. So if it's not over torqued, this impact gun should spin these right off. All right, our wheels off, spun right off with the impact gun. If for whatever reason you don't have an impact gun, you might want to loosen the lug nuts up before you jack it up. You may still be able to break them loose because this is a front wheel drive, so the axles are locked. In the case of not having an impact gun, just loosen it real quick before you jack it up. Now we just got 2 bolts here, 2 caliper pins, one here and one down here. We're going to use our screwdriver to get in here and take a little bit of tension off of this caliper. So you might see it moving now. So that kind of closes the caliper. See how much that's moving? Now you don't have to do that, but you can. That's just taking a little bit of the tension off. We're closing that cylinder down a little bit before we get it off so that we can use the C-clamp when we get it off to actually close it all the way. All right, just cut the wheel to the left so we have better visibility, easier access. You don't have to do this, but this will make it a little bit easier. These pads are a little bit tricky. If you're looking here where those tabs are, you see there's 2 tabs. One kind of goes into the hardware and then one goes on the outside. So if you look here, see that tab, how it's in there? But you can't see the other one, and it's because it's tucked in there. So when you're putting these back on, you got to make sure that you get the lower one slid inside, and this bigger one is going to be on the outside. So when you're taking them off, just pay close attention. Look at it real good before you take it off if you're unsure about this. Okay, can you see here? We got 1 bolt loose here, 1 bolt loose here. Again, that's just with the ratchet and a 14mm socket. I'm going to spin this out. Set that caliper up out of the way. We have access to our pads. You can use a flathead for this if you want. I'm just using my thumbs, pop those out. In your case, if you're unsure about these clips, make sure you get a good look at them before you pop it out. See where they're positioned before you pull it all the way out. Okay, I noticed something here. Let me pull this pad off so you can see what's going on. Now look at that, those tabs. See how that one is pushed all the way out like that? That serves no purpose. So whoever did it, they just didn't feel like messing with it or didn't know how to put it back in. But obviously it was still functioning. We're not replacing the hardware, so we're not going to worry about, lubing anything up or anything. We're just throwing these pads on there. Okay, I'm going to try to film when I'm getting this how I'm lining these tabs up because they're tricky, and I don't know the exact purpose of why this extra tab is on there, other than maybe to make it fill some space. But you can see here, see this tab is going to go under this one, like that. Can you see that? Now, I already got it kind of positioned where I want it. I'll wiggle it in there, and boom. So I got the other one on the back. So now we're just going to make sure this caliper is closed all the way. So this cylinder here, we're going to use our C-clamp. Now I'm going to tighten this clamp up and close this all the way down to when we don't see any more of this, so that this is flush. Okay, you see the difference now? See how that's nice and flat? That's what we want. Put the caliper back in place, and I started these caliper pin bolts. So just tighten it up by finger, by hand. This one down here. I'm going to throw my ratchet on there and give it a nice little snug tight. Now straighten the axle. Let's grab the wheel. And we snug down the lug nuts with this impact. And now we're going to drop it off this jack. So if you did like I showed you, this thing should already be tight. Then you just pull it up a couple times. Got enough room to get this out. And then let it down. Boom. Once it's on the ground, I'm going to come over here, grab our cap, put it back on, tighten it up. The last thing you want to do is give your brakes a couple pumps. So I did it like 3 times and it's already nice and stiff. But I'm going to start it up before I'm done just to double check. And finally, I'm using a torque wrench to get the proper torque on these wheels because I took off all 4 of them. So I'm going to make sure they're all torqued down tight. The torque on this is 80 foot-pounds. So if you're wondering why we had to press on the brake afterwards, we're putting pressure back onto the brakes and in the system so that when you press on the brakes after you start the car, they work the first time. Because otherwise you might push it to the floor and panic because the brakes don't respond. You don't absolutely have to do it, but if you don't, you may find yourself in a position where you hit the brakes and you're like, what the heck? Brakes aren't working. So save yourself the trouble, pump it up a couple times before you drive it.